Hi everyone, and I'd like to welcome Andrea Castiglione. Sorry, my Australian accent. How did we pronounce your surname, Andrea?
Castiglione. Castiglione. It's like the Spanish little double L. That's
Castiglione.
GLI is very difficult, but it's Italian. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming and chatting with me today. Um,
it's a pleasure.
you're based in Italy, right? What's been going on
Yeah.
over in Italy?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, Rob. The situation is, as you know, it's very difficult pretty much everywhere. Italy is almost going back into full lockdown because the numbers of cases for COVID is going up. So that is putting a lot of people into struggle. Lots of businesses, Italy relies on tourism and it relies on hospitality. So it's a very bad moment for a large portion of the economy.
Yeah,
So that's definitely not good. But there are some opportunities, as in every crisis there lies an opportunity. So I think lots of businesses are going through a transformation, going from fully analog, fully old world, old styles. They had to automate. They had to go into new ways of doing business and digitization and marketplaces. So that's very good. It's a good moment to innovate, I would say.
absolutely. It seems to be. I mean, we all know the negative stuff on businesses, especially like brick and mortar, traditional
Yeah,
like restaurants and stuff like that. We all feel bad for them, but at the same time, it is a great moment in time for especially technology businesses, cryptography business, all that stuff online. I mean, we're actually doing this chat on Zoom, and you can imagine even for the company Zoom, it'd be amazing because everyone's like using
yeah,
their platform. So I guess there's pluses and minuses to different times in history. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm obviously based in Perth, Western Australia. You were
yeah.
asking me a little bit before about it. Have you ever been to Perth?
No, I haven't. Actually, haven't. I love Australia, by the way. I actually got this in Australia last year. So,
Oh, cool.
um,
You're
so,
representing. You
so
put it on today.
I, I'm wearing a little bit of Australia today. I loved being in Australia. We were in the Victoria area. We went to Melbourne, and then we went around for a little bit. Lots of my dearest friends are in Australia. I love Australia in general, so that's it's a great place to be. We wanted to go back this year.
Yeah.
We also tennis fans, so
Oh, wow.
we wanted to be to the Australian Opens, but
Yeah.
that didn't work. Um, Next year maybe.
Yeah. We host the tennis a little bit in Perth as well. Some of the Australian Open. So yeah, you might have to pop over to Perth and we can meet each other face to face when you're here.
We'll do that.
I'm on the other side of
It's
Australia.
a really long time. It's a really long flight, but it's
It is.
yeah. But by 2030, they say that by 2030 we're gonna have a supersonic flight that it's gonna get from London to Sydney in 4 hours. So never know.
That'd be we might even have a tunnel that goes through the middle of the earth with electric Teslas by then too.
Exactly. You never know. You never know.
Hey, so we met basically on like online social media sites,
Yeah.
like Twitter and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, we're both into cryptocurrency, obviously,
Yeah.
but I think we mostly met up talking about domain names because I run an Australian domain name show, and we interview people around the world who are into domain names and buy them and make businesses out of them. I think that's how we started chatting, right?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, domain names, and it's a passion. And
Yeah.
there is also some backstories that I can tell you. But
Really?
it's yeah, yeah. I mean,
So you've
I
been
think.
teasing me the whole time we met. You're just going, I know a few things about domain names, and this is when I get to find out.
Oh no, I mean it's no, the idea for me, domain names is always gone back to the idea of building brands. So
Yeah.
I always start with the domain. I never start, actually, when I want to build something, I never start from, let's make up a name and then buy the domain later, because that just kills, like kills you in terms of money, like in terms of expenses. While you could be on expired domain list, and you find a really good domain and just try to work the business out of that. But in terms of branding, that's very it's always very important to own the brand. So I always try to get the domain, get the all the social media handles and all of those things, try to be sorted before the brand explodes. So I've been building brands since since quite early on. I'm 29, so I'm kind of young, but started my first business when I was 17.
Wow.
Yeah, so been on the rodeo for a bit. And in 2016, I started a venture studio. It's called Silent Unicorn.
What kind of
That's
studio?
It's a venture studio. So basically, we do two things. Either we spin off things that we personally we like. So we have an idea and we build prototype, and if the prototype works, we spin it off as a company. And then it was my way of differentiating my portfolio, because I didn't start with a lot of money. So I said, okay, I need to do different things to build my own investment portfolio. So that was prior to Bitcoin. That was prior to everything else. So it was a bit of the personal hustle, I would say. Um, and then on the other side, on the other side, I would work with entrepreneurs that have ideas or existing business, and I try to accelerate the business by bringing three types of capital. So strategic capital, human capital, and financial capital to the business, so that it could get all the right humans to grow. And
Yeah,
so
the
that's
fundamentals, right?
yeah, exactly. Because sometimes you have the business, model, or you have the tech, but you don't have the marketing, or you don't have the economic power to scale, or you don't have the strategic partnerships to grow. So all of those things need to be all brought together with the whole in a single system, right? So
Yeah.
my background is mostly techie, so I'm more of a geeky math guy, but I always try to be at the crossroad of marketing and technology, and also at the crossroad of people and tech. So that's where I play. So building brands is something that I love. So building something, it's
Yeah.
and domain names are fundamental for that. So I've been
Absolutely. And
buying
what was the name of that brand when you were 17?
that one was Aletes Capital, which in Greek means truth. So what you can see with your eyes. So it's the
Oh,
truth. So it was a software business. We were building algorithms for trading, but then the venture builder is called Silent Unicorn, which is
okay.
silent. It's we
Yeah.
keep it very low profile. It's a venture builder. Yeah.
Nice one. And is that still going?
Yeah, that's still going.
Yeah.
I still
Silent
have it.
Unicorn. Okay. Have you got the
Yeah,
domain name?
of course, of
Oh,
course. I have.
wow. Yeah, that's cool. Silentunicorn.com. Okay. So that's when
Yeah,
you started. Yeah, that's a great domain name in itself. So
yeah. I
that's
mean,
what you,
it sounds silly, right? But it sounds silly. But the idea is to make noise quietly, right? So the
yeah.
idea is it's exactly that.
Yeah,
So
that makes perfect sense, and it's memorable.
yeah,
That makes sense to me. Being a fan of domain names and brands like starting brands like that as well. When you said it to me, I didn't have to ask you again how to spell it. Silent Unicorn. It
yeah,
just you want a domain name like that where it's just straight away
yeah,
you get the brand.
yeah.
So what other kind of domain names have you managed to get your hands
Well,
on?
I as I said, I didn't start with a lot of capital. So
Yeah.
at the beginning, it was trying to get all the long tail, but I was trying to keep it maximum at 15 letters,
Yep.
15 letters of length. And then I started moving to one word, like at least one word ish. Brandables were something that I was really keen to look at. I have
Yeah.
I have more than I would say 2,000 domains right now, but
Oh,
it's not
awesome.
the 2,000 .coms. So I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I
Dot
just
com.
buy .coms. I have few alternative TLDs like .io or now everyone is going for .club for Clubhouse.
Yeah,
So
Clubhouse.
that's yeah, but Clubhouse has been an explosion. So
Yeah.
if you buy domains, it might be that you're in the middle of a trend or something that is exploding. So just go. If you do it as an investment, it makes sense. So I bought, for example, whales.club, because I have a project that it's related to whales in not just in the crypto sense. So
Yeah, I was going
whales
to
of
say all the
um
crypto whales come and hang out on whales.club.
maybe
They
you never
might.
know.
They
uh,
might.
they
Uh,
might.
I'll
So
try and
that's
keep building up my crypto reserve so I can at least make the bottom entry into whales.club one day.
no,
Instead of
but the idea basically is I always try to go with the first thing that I look, and I do this almost every day. So every day I go on the expired list, and I would look for particular words. For example, I'm looking at Bitcoin domains. I will look at Bitcoin domains and everything that expired over the past 7 days. So that's something that I would do, or if I do cannabis, or if I do, like, I go for sectors like
yeah,
cannabis, the crypto space, Bitcoin, crypto token, all the
yeah,
words, and then I start buying
capital,
them.
maybe venture, that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. And
Unicorn.
I start buying. Otherwise, I go for the short ones, which every day, it's more or less like 60 pages of domains to scroll. But it's like it's I would say it's the 8 words, 8 letters domains that expire. So if you see something brandable, I like to go between 5 and 8 letters every day. At least I buy a few. So if there is something
Wow.
short that it's brandable, I'll just buy it.
Yeah, and only in .com, right? Mostly.
Only.com.
Yeah, only
Only.com.
.com. That's smart.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, were you into cryptocurrency at all back then when you were 17?
Yeah.
You were.
No, when I was 17, there was no crypto.
No, there was
So
no crypto, right?
yeah, I mean there was crypto, but it was cryptography more than cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was mostly into trading. I was building systems to trade currencies. So euro, dollar, Japanese yen, GBP.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I was going from currency to currency.
Yeah.
And that type of thing then translated into something else when I started to look into crypto. But the idea is I started that because I wanted to build systems for a more accessible finance, I would say. So I
Mm.
wanted to create software so that anyone can have its personal money advisor, just click a button and just use it. But
That
so
makes sense
from
to
there,
me, man. Go on. No, you go. Keep going.
yeah. Yeah, and then when I was at university, I was in abstract algebra course. We were talking about cryptography, and there, it was 2011. Bitcoin was super cheap, but with a friend of mine, we started talking about Bitcoin, bought a few Bitcoins, like lots of Bitcoin back then, which eventually you lose because it's like 80 cents a dollar. Like that's nothing. So you don't even think that could become, well, like we all thought it could go to $10 one day or something. Like it was that's the type of extent, that you're thinking that something could go to 10, maybe 15.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But just dreaming of having Bitcoin at millions of dollars, maybe, or thousands of dollars, like those
Yeah.
things were really far-fetched for me. So I didn't pay too much attention in 2011.
Yeah.
I went completely all in 2013. So
Wow.
2013 I started buying, and I started, and I had to go through the dip because there was a dip. And
Yeah.
then 2014, and then started building on from there.
Wow.
So that's kind of the history with Bitcoin, and it's a wild ride.
Yeah, I
The
bet.
the the fact that you have now this cycle, it's much different because everyone was looking at Bitcoin in 2017, and because of the explosion. But
Yeah.
as soon as it was just going through one of its cycles, because it always boom and bust and boom and bust, but it's always going up over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in that particular cycle, the eyes of everyone were on Bitcoin, because they saw this go to $20,000, back to $3,000, and now it's $100,000, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I know.
so that is, now all the institutionals, all the corporations, they know that Bitcoin can go into, okay, it deflates for 80% of its value and then it goes up again. It's part of the game. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I guess this
sorry,
moment in
I talk
time.
I talk a lot, sorry.
No, no, no. You have to keep talking a lot because I get so passionate and enthusiastic that I butt in and I have to stop myself. I love talking about this stuff. But I mean, I guess what you're talking about, institutions and corporations now on Bitcoin and on cryptocurrency and
Yeah,
on blockchain right now,
yeah,
especially if everyone's looking at, like you were saying, end of 2017, everyone saw it go up to 20,000 and then a couple of
yeah,
months later drop to 3,000. People can say that happened once, that's luck. But now that it's 55,000, people are
yeah,
understanding, hang on a minute, there's a
yeah,
cycle here and it's not a
yeah.
one-off. It's going to keep going.
Absolutely. But no, I mean, it's just I mean, it's just mathematics, right? So you only have 21 million Bitcoin, 4
Yeah.
million of which they're lost, right? Like no one can recoup ever, so that's already reducing the supply a lot. And then even if you wanted to give everyone the same amount, so we're 7.8 billion people on the planet, right? So
Yeah.
even if you wanted to give the same amount of Bitcoin to everyone, it would be 0.28 Bitcoin per person. Okay, that
Yeah.
means that out there are people that are just hurting thousands of Bitcoins and
Yeah.
tens of thousands of Bitcoins, and
Yeah.
companies that are buying billions of dollars of this. That means there is not enough for everyone. And there are places in the world. For us, it's a luxury. I mean, for
Yeah.
us in the developed world, I would say what the current financial system would call developed world, that is a luxury. You buy Bitcoin just because you want to differentiate your assets, but in reality there are places in the world in which Bitcoin is actually needed, because
Yeah.
if you're in Australia, sorry, not in Australia,
Yeah.
in Argentina or in Venezuela, or like
Yeah.
all of Latin
Heard
America,
about
the
that where their
developing countries.
currency was in trouble, right?
Nigeria is the place where Bitcoin is transacted the most for like in real life.
Wow.
Nigeria, Peru, Vietnam, all of those places are using the currency.
Yeah.
Argentina, the pesos keeps deflating against dollar, but the people are floating are just going to Bitcoin because it's a reserve for them. So it's a necessity to avoid that the money that they earn, it goes to zero. So
Yeah. It's a no-brainer
demand
for
goes
them.
up, demand goes up, supply is fixed, if not even lower, the price can only go up. There is no, and this is not a financial advice to anyone watching,
No, no,
please,
no.
disclaimer. No.
Don't worry, we'll have a disclaimer in text as well. I mean,
Okay,
when we're on here just having a casual chat, Italy and
exactly,
Australia are having a chat here about domain names
exactly.
and crypto and business. I mean, we're not telling anyone what to do with their money.
Nope, nope, nope.
um, well, so that's great. So yeah, we're jumping over the shop here, which is good. This is what we're meant to be doing on this show. So back to your so you, back to your businesses. So
Yeah.
around 2013, you went, hang on a minute, and the light bulb went off, and you thought, I understand what's going on with Bitcoin here. But were you still developing kind of traditional stock and currency trading
Yeah,
software
yeah. Hmm.
at that
I
time?
was. Yeah, no, but I actually still have some of my oldest algorithms have been running for like 10 years or so.
Wow.
So the idea of my biggest passion was always trying to understand how things evolve. So you have a system, whatever form, if it's a financial system, biological system, trying to understand what could be the evolution of that system.
Hmm.
So how the things would change over time. So predicting the prices of currencies was something that I loved. So intraday trading, finding ways of saying, okay, this is a good time to buy, this is a good time to sell.
Yeah.
If you just look at a chart, and you haven't spent thousands of hours looking at charts, you don't,
You
people
can't
tell you,
predict
there's
anything.
a wedge or there's a triangle, ascending triangle, like those things don't work for me, right? So
Okay.
I always had to find different ways, and I didn't have my mind biased on, okay, let's trade like everyone else is trading. So I wanted to create something different, and I started looking in that space very early. But that's I still was doing that when I got into Bitcoin. And I didn't get into Bitcoin because I understood everything. I
Yeah.
got into Bitcoin because some of my smartest friends were getting into Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not the smart one. I mean, I'm, you know, I defend myself, but you know, I saw some of my smartest friends that were getting into Bitcoin, and so I said, if they are doing it, maybe I should look at that, because it went from absolutely nothing to hundreds of
Yeah.
dollars, like hundreds of dollars. Why wouldn't I do that? So
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it can go even higher.
That was the first time crypto FOMO was being invented, around that time in
Exactly.
2013 with a small
Exactly.
group of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, and well, I think I can associate with why you were buying, you know, good domain names, why you were starting these businesses based on a good concrete foundation of a good
Hmm.
domain name, um, and also why you were trading stocks and then getting into Bitcoin. All this stuff you're talking about really is, to me, is like the digital asset mindset. Like a
Yeah.
domain name, you can't touch it, but we know it's a digital asset worth a bunch of money. Same with cryptocurrency, you can't touch it, but it's obviously worth a lot of money. A lot of people think it is worth
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
money. So if your brain, I think if our brains are in that kind of mindset, you start to think about building businesses that way too.
Yeah. Absolutely. 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 I mean, the first I wanted to clarify, I never traded stocks. I don't trade stocks. It's
Okay.
too illiquid for me.
You
I
just love
only
the
trade
prediction side of it.
currencies. I only predict currencies.
Okay.
So, you know, euro dollar, for example, it's a pair where you have, you know, $5 trillion transacted every day. So that's a pair that I trade. I can go on leverage. I can do other things. That's the type of thing that I like, because otherwise stocks, it takes too much time. I don't want to do that for day trading. But anyways, going back to, you know, digital assets, you start looking at different things, right? How the world could fit, and the world could change, because domain names are a collectible in a sense. Now everyone is talking about NFTs, you know, non-fungible tokens,
Yeah.
collectible assets, collectible digital assets. But in reality, domains are a collectible digital asset, because if I buy thousands of domains, or you know, there are people buying thousands of domains out there,
There
then
are.
you have, you know, and you have millions of people that are buying domains.
Yeah.
So they don't realize yet that they're in a space that it's booming. So actually, one of the projects that I have brewing in the little venture studio, it's related exactly to this point, and we'll talk about it later,
Yeah.
in another moment. Um, but the idea is, you know, digital assets are transforming the way that we interact with businesses, right? So the way that we do business every day, and because tokens were just a fantastic model to I would say, create incentive mechanisms, right? So incentive mechanisms for people to participate in a decentralized space, in a decentralized ecosystem, and get rewarded in some ways. So those type of economics are not trivial, are not absolutely non-trivial. But now the fact that everyone is getting into this, and
Yeah.
there is more and more demand, there is more and more accessibility, there is, you know, there is more demand for this type of assets. And the fact that we've been sitting around for a year and a half with the COVID, right? And
Yeah.
everyone is
Sped it
at
up, right?
home. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone is
Yeah.
at home. They're researching, they're watching videos, they don't know what to do, and
Yeah.
they start looking into different things. And then you had the stimulus money, and you know, this right now the whole ecosystem is thriving, because people are looking at way of differentiating their portfolios and de-risking their positions out of financial classical financial market, which in some ways is completely drugged. I mean, there is no, I don't know how to say it. Sorry, but there is, right now it's not reflecting the real economy. You know, everything going
Yeah.
up doesn't reflect the fact that businesses are shutting down.
Yeah.
So that is something that there is a little bit of mismatch. So people, of course, are migrating to something different, and digital assets are very important into that. But also, digital assets allow you to transform businesses. And you know, I know that you've been tweeting a lot about what we do at Efforce. You know, that's something that it's one clear example. You know, we've
Yeah.
taken something that exists, something that is already out there, you know, and that's and it's a business with 11 years of history, that it's transforming into something that opens up to the masses, opens up to to millions of people potentially, instead of being only for, you know, a closed loop of financial investors that are, you know, can invest $1 million plus in a SPV to have an energy efficiency project. So it's opening up finance and opportunities to the retail market.
Yeah, wow. But before we start talking about Efforce,
Yeah.
were there any other businesses that you were running, or were you doing all this before you thought about starting up Efforce with your other co-founders?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm like a halfway between an investor and an entrepreneur, right? So
Yeah.
I like my sweet spot is not always going from 0 to 1. I have some things that have gone 0 to 1, but my thing is going from 1 to 1,000. So I like to identify what the factors that allow something to scale exponentially, right? So that is my sweet spot. So
Yeah.
if someone comes to me with an idea, with a product, with something that has the basis to become a business, then I say, okay, I start connecting the dots, I bring together the right people, put it at the right table, and then we go from there to scale the company in some ways. So, and then I'm always the kind of guy that becomes an active investor. So I am the person that if I put my time into something, I would
Yeah.
just run with it. I will deal with the business every day. I will go into it and just try to, you know, even though we have 24 hours, this is what I do with all the businesses. So I try to optimize my schedule, I would say, to say, okay, for the next 3 months, 6 months, business such and such needs, you know, 10 hours a day, and then this other business needs only 1 hour a day. So I try to change the schedule around so that I make sure that everything is running is running smoothly. But it most of the businesses that I have participations in don't need me as a day-to-day person.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
have time to focus on things that I want to focus on. Like efforts right now is one of the main priorities, actually. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So is that, I mean, there's venture capitalists, and then there's entrepreneurs who run the day to day, I guess. Are you
Yeah.
talking about maybe, is what your sweet spot, is that called an incubator, or not
No,
really?
I don't like that word, because
Okay.
usually usually that is very, it's a little bit more passive as a role.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
I run the business with the people. Like, so
Yeah.
after selecting the people, I just go, you know, I'm active in that
So you're
process.
doing it
So
all. You're doing the venture capital. You're still doing the entrepreneur, and you are incubating it as well. But you're doing,
yeah,
it seems like you're
yeah.
doing all.
I am incubating in some ways, but it's trying to bring everything under one roof. And so
Yeah.
you have, you know, you have the right people that are thinking about the right problem,
Yeah.
and you have the right resources. So right people, right problem, right resources, and filtering all of those things is not easy. So
No, that's
you
right.
have to you have to look around a lot, and you have to do a lot of due diligence, look at the different trends, and make sure that you have the right people thinking about the right problem. So those
Yeah.
things are non-trivial as well.
Yeah, and then I get what you mean. Once it's up and running, and the big
Yeah.
cogs are turning, you're not having to babysit it every day, because it's,
No, exactly. No, no,
but
no.
as it's coming to certain paths in the road in terms of its business future, I guess that's where you're guiding it. And
Yeah.
okay,
Hmm.
so yeah, we should talk about, you're a co-founder of Efforce with a couple of other guys,
Hmm.
including Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple. We had to name drop that. I mean,
Yeah. Mic drop. No.
how did that
The
all come about? And when did that start?
Yeah,
In
I mean,
Italy?
this is a, you know, very very interesting story, and it ties back to all the things that we discussed basically. But the story about Efforce is the real brains behind Efforce is definitely Jacopo Visetti and Jacopo Vanetti, the two people that are the project lead and the tech co-founder. The both two are incredible entrepreneurs under 35. You know, when they started their own businesses, separate, you know, Jacopo the CTO has always been in the payment space. So he's a hacker since ever. He was building software since the age of 11, probably.
Wow.
You know, very active when internet wasn't there. So he was at 11. He was buying big books of you know, programming languages, and
Wow.
he's just incredible on that side of things. And then on the other side, you have Jacopo Visetti, who is absolutely incredible and a total visionary in what happens to be in the energy space. So after graduating Harvard, Jacopo came back to Milan, the energy Jacopo, because they're both called Jacopo. So we have, like, Apple had Steve and Steve, you know, we have Jacopo and Jacopo. So after Jacopo came back to Milan, he started with other three friends, Ether CO2, which is the parent company of Efforce, which, you know, started 11 years ago. And they were complete pioneers, because everyone wasn't paying attention to carbon credits and the energy. Like, no one was thinking about carbon credits in their business model.
Yeah,
so actually, banks were dismissing their trading desks because they weren't profitable enough for banks to trade that type of asset. So Jacopo, you know, started buying these desks. So, you know, as soon as they were growing, and they were growing and buying. So he created the largest, for sure, one of the largest privately held trading desks for carbon credits globally.
Carbon credits. Wow.
Yeah.
And let's face it, every country has signed this Kyoto Treaty.
Exactly.
That says big corporations have to buy and offset.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So that's the right people. That's what I mean, the right people. You have the right people thinking about the right problem. So when I knew both Jacopos from previously. You know, they came to me. They were discussing with another person. It's Stefano Scozzese as well, who is our head of design and marketing. You know, Stefano is brilliant as well. He's always thinking. He's always a guy that thinks about brands as well. So you know, Efforce is the name child is from Stefano, who is the marketing director as well for Andrea Bocelli, the opera singer, Giorgio Armani. Like, he's a brilliant guy that in his space as well. So you have the right ecosystem of people, a right idea, right product. And then what it needs, it's the right ecosystem in the crypto space. So since I was in the crypto space, I knew where to sell the token, how to sell the token, how to place it, how to bring the right people to make sure that this token could actually fly. And then the other not fly in the, you know, in a moon sense, but actually work. So building the right tokenomics, right, bringing the right people. And also another thing is I spent a lot of time. I'm the people guy. So I spent a lot of time in my past building bridges, building relationships, as we said, right? So I have a relationship algorithm. This is how I call it informally. So anyone I wanted to meet in the world, in some ways, I would find ways to get to that person, right? So and I had the fortune to meet Steve Wozniak 6 years before we started Efforce. So we had a history previous to that. And so I did the matchmaking there. So I was bringing the people together, brought everyone at the same table. But again, Steve was very passionate about, you know, the future of energy. He's all, you know, green, everything electric. And he has a passion of systems, you know, how to make systems more efficient, because he was building computers from the day one, right? In which it was smaller computers, because before computers were big, and he wanted to make smaller, more efficient, more portable. So same thing, he's all about efficiency. He was intrigued by the problem. and we translated that into a business, and we brought everyone together, and that bringing everyone together created Efforce. And
Wow.
that process started in 2018. We had all the, you know, we were thinking, okay, let's do an ICO, let's do another thing. But then the market changed a lot. And so we refrained from launching the token with an ICO model.
Yeah, the ICO got a dirty name,
yeah,
right?
no. We stopped. We didn't do the ICO. We
That
didn't
was
sell
lucky,
any
yeah.
token. Yeah, and it was right before the bear market. So we said, okay, let's look at the
Took a
market.
break
Let's
time.
reframe. Let's can you hear me? Sorry, I was lagging a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's good now.
Okay, so let's we went back to the drawing board, changed the tokenomics, and then launched the token in 2019 to the private market. So we went through 2 rounds of private sale, and in end of 2020 we launched the token to the public in, you know, December 2020. So literally 3 months ago.
Yeah, and you must have done all right, because I heard about it and that's when I jumped in. So I rode that first wave up to $3. So thank you very much. But
Yeah.
I just found it on people were talking about it. So you guys did something right. I mean, if we're hearing about it over in Australia, you must have done something.
Yeah, but you know, that's not even the special bit, I would say, because our scope is so long term, because you cannot think about business without sustainability in mind, right? So
Yeah.
we want people to start thinking about energy efficiency, and no one knows about anything about energy efficiency. So we want people to be educated into that, because that could change lives. Not just the fact that, you know, carbon footprint, that's a plus. But the fact that you're paying $100 every month in bills, like we all pay electricity bills.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can do a little bit of efficiency in your house and you could bring it to $50, that means you have $50 extra in your pocket every month.
To feed your family and spend it on
Feed
something
your
else.
family. If you need to change something, or you want to, it's $50 every month, which, you know, over a year compound to $600.
I didn't realize that. So Efforce is not just about a carbon credits marketplace for corporations. It's also literally about helping the everyday man and woman with their electricity.
helping businesses reduce their consumption by design. Okay. The thing is this: a system, and I always talk about this, like if you watch the you know, community gatherings, I always talk about these things. You have a system. By the word system, I mean the mathematical sense of system, where you have the, you know, everything could be a system: house, a company, an office. And these things is made of a lot of smaller pieces. All the smaller pieces, you can take them apart, and you say, in a house, for example, you have the heating system, the insulation system, that you have the you know, the air conditioning, the oven, the washing machines. All of the things that work in your house and consume energy are part of the system.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you have an old oven that it's consuming too much, maybe when you switch it on, you consume too much energy. Or if you use the washing machine a lot, and that is an old washing machine, is not efficient, then you consume too much energy. By changing single appliances or single pieces of the system, you can reduce your energy cost, which reduces also your carbon footprint. But you reduce your energy consumption, which reduces the amount of money that you pay to the utility company, and in turn gives you more money at the end of the month. But in order to retrofit a whole house, you need money, right? So you need someone to pay for that. So usually the job of an energy service company, an ESCO, that is what, you know, what we bring into this place, right? Usually the job of an ESCO is to provide that capital through the investors that they have, you know. So ESCOs have investors in the back. They provide the capital, and they do the engineering work, they do the renovation at zero cost for the people, zero cost as a household owner. And you pay overtime until you pay back the entire investment. You pay overtime with a percentage of the energy that you saved, of the energy that you saved. That means that if you were paying $100, now you're paying $50 to the utility bill, You give me 30 and keep 20 in savings for you. So $20 is what you have in your pocket every month extra. You give me 30 because I provided for the new washing machine, the new thing, and you know, we registered the business. Give me 30 for a while. So you're paying 80, you're not paying 100 anymore, you're paying 80.
Plus you've also upgraded your appliances.
You upgraded. After you paid me back, you keep the full 50 in savings. And so that, for businesses that are struggling right now because they can't keep their lights on because of COVID, because they're not working, because of all those things. Efficiency,
all these added expenses,
is so important because they need to reduce by design, not just the carbon footprint, not just the energy consumption, but also the way that, you know, that their economic cash flow. So that is very important for businesses, and everyone is turning to energy efficiency right now. That's why it's a booming market, but people don't know that they can participate. So this idea of saving money is actually making money. It's something that people don't realize, because if you're not spending anymore, that means you have extra money in your pocket. That means that you're making a financial profit, and you have money extra that you can spare for your business, for your household. And full disclaimer, Efforce doesn't do retail. Like, we don't do house renovations in a sense. Okay. No, we go with, otherwise that would be too much risk for the contributors in the crowd. But what we do is we work with large corporations, you know, that are global, and they have the need of renovating and growing. Over time, we will launch the decentralized version. Decentralized version of the platform will allow anyone to just post it, like a little bit like Uniswap. Post the renovation. If people want to participate, they take their own risk and they do it. In the centralized version of Efforce, which is what we are building, is it's more of the I would say the vetted and we make sure we do all the auditing. We know exactly how much energy is going to be saved, and all of those things will be told to the people before they contribute to the project.
Okay, so for example, say the electricity provider of Melbourne in Australia, that would be an Efforce customer, right?
Yeah, I mean, that would be an Efforce partner, I would say.
An Efforce partner, yeah.
Yeah, because what we have in the marketplace, you have to think about this as a little bit like a crowdfunding platform. You have a platform where you have energy service companies, the ESCOs, which are the promoters of projects. Okay, so these companies are the ones that perform the auditing. They do the actual engineering and construction work when they have to do the renovation. So the ESCOs, and then you have on the other side, you have the projects, which are the I would say the companies all around the world that need to become more efficient. And behind every project, there is an ESCO promoting it. Okay. With Efforce, ITER CO2, the parent company, is an ESCO as well. So we are kind of opening up our business to our competitors, right? We're creating a platform for all the ESCOs all around the world, which are licensed entities, to bring their own pipelines into this thing, so that the crowd, third component, could participate into that financing. So that's the way that the whole thing works. Yeah.
Unreal. We've been talking for a little while now.
Yeah, like it's 45 minutes. I'm really sorry for that. Yeah, I talk a lot.
I think 45 minutes is, you don't talk too much more than normal people. I think 45 minutes is a good chat about this stuff. So should we talk about what's coming up? Actually, I've got a question. Did you register in efforce.io, or was it one of your
it was Stefano. It was Stefano, actually.
There you go.
Stefano registered it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
that,
is it like efficient energy force? Is that what it kind of stands for?
Yeah, the idea is also the effort of doing something, right? Like, so it's Efforce, the force, effort. It's a little bit of a play on word.
Yeah.
So Stefano registered the .io.
Yeah, I find that back to domain names that a lot of cryptocurrency and blockchain companies, if they can't get their .com, they're going .io or .exchange if they're an exchange.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't buy like a dot exchange.
No.
I do buy .ios. Like for example, I own Andrea.io, right? I have my name
Oh,
.io.
that's
I like it.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
yeah.
And
So
especially IO's tech, and you're a tech head,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it
exactly.
works.
Exactly. So it works. Everything works. And IO in it, it became has a connotation now of technology is
It
one
does.
or
Yeah.
zero, it's input or output.
Yeah.
So it has a connotation of tech, and so everyone is looking at that. And the thing is, now you're not even penalized when you by the search engines, when you have the search, right?
Yeah, the
So it
search
doesn't
engine
matter what
optimization.
TLD, yeah, it doesn't matter what TLD you're using.
That's
It
true.
has
Yeah.
minimal impact on your ranking. But for me, .com is always the gold standard. It's like when you get into crypto, and the first thing that you buy is Bitcoin, right? So
Yeah.
it's not alternative currencies, it's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So to me, brands always need to have their site covered with a .com, right? So that is very important. Um,
Yeah, and I
but
mean, look at
yeah,
TransferWise, the money
yeah.
transfer. I mean, they only
They
literally
bought
just
Wise.com.
bought Wise.com.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Andrew Rosner brokered that.
yeah.
That.
We've had Andrew
Yeah,
Rosner on the Domainer show before.
yeah.
He's one of the world's best domain brokers.
He's
He can get you a .com.
everyone looks at it, looks up at him. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that just goes to show that TransferWise obviously couldn't afford to buy Wise.com at the start. So they
yeah,
went with TransferWise.com. They could get that. And then as they
yeah,
went on, they went, okay, it does cost more money though, if you because
yeah,
as you become a famous brand, if you want to
yeah.
shorten it, it costs more money. But anyway, yeah, that's
But
interesting.
but businesses don't understand that that's an expense that they need to, at some point they need to take, right? Like that
Yeah,
that's so sometimes they, shareholders, they would say, no, but why would we invest in a domain? We could buy the .io, we could have an alternative one. Why
yeah,
would we do it?
twoword.com.
Why would we do it? And so I personally, I always believe that it's better to start with the right domains, so that you, at least you're
Agreed.
covered. But
Well, you
sometimes
can
you
only
get
do the best you can do sometimes.
yeah,
But
exactly.
but apart from, I think it looks, I mean, the aesthetically, the optics look really powerful and make your business look even more successful, and that it's
Yeah,
like jumping to the next level if
yeah,
you do buy. With TransferWise, when they start, I mean, they're all, you can tell they're advertising like hell at the moment. They're saying
yeah,
we're changing to wise.com. When we see this, we think, well, they must be doing well. They must that company must be going to the next level. It also gives that connotation, which is important in
mhm,
itself.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. It's all about perception. When you build a brand, it's all about perception as well, right? So
Yeah,
what you tell other people, you've done your homework, you've grown, you're now going to the next step, and you're taking this next step, which is buying the better domain name, which is going to cost you millions of dollars. You
yeah,
can do it. That means your business is growing, it's thriving. It's a good message that you're giving them. It's a
yeah,
subconscious message, but it is a good message.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Should we talk? What's in the near future for you? Not only for Efforce and um,
yeah,
its cryptocurrency WOZX, which
yeah.
which obviously gets its
Not a
moniker.
financial advice.
Not financial advice.
Yeah.
Well, how about I say this? Then it's not financial advice because I don't know what I'm doing with cryptocurrency.
Okay.
So I believe at the moment people can invest in WOZX by going to an exchange called hbtc.com, which is where I
Mhm.
bought my
Yeah.
WOZX coins. You can also buy it on Uniswap for people who know how to use Uniswap.
There's little liquidity on Uniswap. I would say
Okay.
the best places right now are BitThumb. BitThumb is the largest Korean exchange. And we started big on Asia side because a big portion of our investors are in Asia, because That's just the way that we build the business, and most of the real traction is coming always from Asia, because
I've
it's
noticed that
more
as well.
forward.
There's a lot of tweets on Twitter that are Asian.
Yeah, but the thing is, Europe is much more conservative. In
Yeah.
Europe, when we had to finance and when we had to raise money, we had to go through what people wanted to do equity rounds, and they're not ready to buy utility tokens and just have something that doesn't have the stock underlying, or the actual asset of the company, right? So Europe is a little bit slow on that, like the Europe that we come from. So institutional banks, Italy's ultra conservative in general. So
Yeah.
it's very difficult to grow and to go and sell utility tokens. So we looked at Asia because Asia is the fastest growing market. It's the most receptive, the most digitized, and so all of those things are were a bit easy. So either you buy it on HBTC, which is not HIT BTC, it's HBTC, which it's a rebranding of Blue Helix. With it's a previous exchange. And then Bithumb.com, which is the largest Korean exchange. Those are the two most liquid ones.
Yeah.
Of course, we're looking at more exchanges, all of those things. People all around the community ask for more exchanges, but we're not in a rush. I mean,
Yeah.
we told the crowd, we said, look, our own tokens are vesting for 20 years, right? So over time, we have our own tokens will be vesting for 20 years. Every year we vest a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's over a period of 20 years. So
Yeah.
we're kind of in not in a rush to say, oh, let's do more exchanges, pump the token, and like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
what we
It's not
want to do.
about pumping. It's about longevity and credibility
It's not
and
about,
having a
yeah,
real platform and product,
there's
right?
there needs to be a real business, because
Yeah.
right now the energy efficiency market, it's a 250 billion a year market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And it's a massive market, but
Yeah.
in order to meet the world efficient scenario, okay, the target, we need to get to the double that, 580 billion. Okay.
Yeah.
That means that we don't have enough time by 2025, so we don't have that much time. We have to increase the amount of money that flows into energy efficiency, because otherwise we get into irreversible changes of our climate, which are going to be
Yeah.
problematic for us.
That's
So
right.
energy efficiency is a great means to turn the key and just try to fix the problems that we have with the climate. It's not just renewables that are out there, our short-term solution. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. And energy efficiency and renewable energy are two different things, because one is on the production side of things, where you try to put more solar panels, more windmills to produce more energy, and follow the consumption of energy. Okay, and you chase the consumption of energy. On the other side, you're trying to cut down by design what the systems are consuming. So it's two different approaches.
Yeah.
um
So if they both work side by side, we should make
yeah,
some ground though, right?
exactly.
Okay, so people can find out more about Efforce by going to efforce.io.
Yep.
We'll have that in
Our
writing as
social
well.
channels, yeah,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
We try
Twitter,
to be present as much as possible. So we're basically always online. So you can reach us on any social media or Telegram. You could pretty much talk to any one of us. So that's not a problem.
great. And do you want to talk about anything else in terms of business stuff you're doing, or you're just like head down on Efforce at the moment?
Right now, head down on Efforce. There are a few other things brewing in the venture studio, but
Yeah,
my biggest focus right now is definitely supporting Efforce on
yeah, that
what I
makes
can do, which is my side is more on the talking to the public, making sure that everyone understands what we're doing, and bringing the right people together. So making sure that this thing could grow further, because the people behind this are incredible. It's not just Jacopo, Stefano. There's also Ken, who is an amazing entrepreneur and is very close friend of WOZ, and WOZ, and we are a super super good team. Our CEO Sergio Verloni. I mean, the whole team, there's 50 people working for this thing. I'm just a
Yeah,
voice,
wow.
you know, I'm just one of the people that is involved in this project.
Yeah.
And my part is making sure that awareness is resonating. People are talking about this, and
Yeah.
over time it's growing. I'm not the classical PR type of person, so I'm not the type of person that writes articles or does social media
I think that
management.
wears thin anyway. It's better to do quality stuff rather than quantity blasts. Like,
Exactly. So it's just about talking to the right people and making sure that you can diffuse the right message.
yeah,
Yeah.
great. All
Mhm.
right, Andrea, thanks so much for
Thank you so
coming
much.
on the show. This is going to be part of my new show. I managed to acquire businessastronaut.com
Nice.
recently, and that was taken for 11 years. And so
Wow.
I thought I want to reach out to entrepreneurs and venture capitalists and the sweet spot guys where you sit in between them all, and just try and get a
Yeah,
few of these guys on the show. So I also
absolutely.
run domainer.com.au. We talked about domain names, so this is like a
Yeah.
2-for-1. So thanks so much, Andrea.
It's very good there, because you know I also have some .it TLDs. So for Italy,
Oh,
I think going vertical for Australia is very smart. So good. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much for having me. Yeah.
Thanks, Andrea, for your time, and all the best for the future. It
Thank
looks
you.
amazing and exciting for you, mate.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.